elevating consciousness and doing your thing, and I definitely want to support that. So
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
yeah. So oh, absolutely, I appreciate you guys as well. So let's hear the chat.
Yes, sir. So we have a list of questions for you. Um, and we're just gonna have a discussion. Our type of podcast is more of we don't sit and we don't sit and talk about and complain about issues. It's more of
Okay.
like a roundtable of solutions and thinking of ways on how we can fix certain issues within our community, develop and build, um, and also develop partnerships. But I'm gonna hand it to Josh. Josh is gonna start it off. We're good to go with the overlays and all that. Perfect.
Okay. Okay. Yes. So my name is actually Olayinka Ayelabowo. I am from Nigeria, born and raised. I think I came here about when I was 13. So I think I've been here since then. I go back and forth a lot to Africa, Caribbean. I was the clinical manager for the pharmaceutical industry. So I was basically in charge of making sure every drugs become FDA approved. So we don't call them drugs in the beginning. When they go to phase, we call them like investigational products. So I make sure they. So I was managing the United States region and the Europe. So I traveled a lot, making sure that a lot of the drugs that people use today were actually worked on them as well. So from there, I started my own company, manufacturing vitamins specifically for Black people. And I own other several companies as well, skincare. I have some agriculture companies in Africa, palm oil, chicken farm, those kind of things. So I have many other investments, So from there, yeah. Right. Right. So I'm gonna say this, right? And I definitely I was excited to be on this podcast because I see you guys are young kings trying to, basically figure your way out and really want to be the solution to your community. So hopefully I could kind of plant some seeds that could benefit you guys. So I think this is it. Um, Kings are not just created. Kingship is a bloodline, meaning when you have children, some children are just born, okay, your next lineage to be kings, right? Most kings are created through bloodline. So bloodline can only be created through legacy, not money. Money and legacy and power are two different things. A lot of times we've been programmed as a community to associate money with like um power. And that's not true. Legacy is power. Walmart is a legacy. Chase Bank is a legacy. H&M is a legacy. All those things are family. BMW, Mercedes Benz, all those things are family names, are legacies. So I'm gonna tell you guys a funny story. So I used to come to work like my job is not like a 9 to 5 job, right? Being a manager of a big pharmaceutical companies, I basically go to the office whenever I feel like it. So, but I was a young. I came into the field very young. I was getting paid a lot of money. Like they gave me a car, they gave me everything. So, at that stage, it's not. You don't see too many. I feel like a lot of people that are pro-black don't really are not really in that field. They don't see the world from that perspective much, right? So I've been around many multimillionaires, many drug executives. So I know how they think and how they move, right? So I got into the office early one day and I saw the owner of the company with his 15-year-old son. And he had the map of the world in front of him.
Mhm.
And basically, he would just point to his son, not how the company works itself, but how to negotiate with world leaders when he goes to meetings. And I'm looking at it like, if I had my son, if I was to have kids, my son would be a servant. No matter how much he gets paid, $1 million a year, whatever, we're a servant to that kid. And I was like, nah, that just clicked something in me.
Mhm.
And I just realized that whatever I learned from this industry, I got to take it out to my people. not only create my legacy, so enable others to be able to create theirs as well. So we just need to kind of shift that mindset from saying, you know what, I want to be rich to I want to create legacies.
Mm-hmm.
So kingship through legacies, right? So that's what kind of motivated me to start, my companies, so to speak.
Yeah, that's powerful, brother. And I completely agree. It's something that we need to shift the dynamic in our communities so that we're thinking in a way of entrepreneurs. We're thinking in a way of people who want to own things and gain the power, like you said, and not mix
Right.
up the concepts of money, power, different things like that.
Right, right. And don't get me wrong, money is extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong,
Yes, it
money is
is.
very important.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of narratives we put in our community, just that we don't see money as tools because a lot of us are raised in a maybe okay family. Some of us our mothers work 2 3 jobs, or
Mm-hmm.
some of us just have enough, right? So we are moving in the mode of survival. A survival thinking is I have to save money.
Mm-hmm.
I have to save. Rich people don't really save, and don't think about saving. Saving is automatic when you have money,
Mm-hmm.
because when you're surviving, you want to save up to. I'm gonna save 20, 10K today, 20K today. Not to say saving is bad, but I'm just saying though, like we have to think about investing. Poor people don't want to like say, I just worked so hard to make $1,000. I don't want to put $800 into something
Mm-hmm.
because you might lose it. So you want to hold on to everything. So I always try create this narrative. If you ever see a river, right? If you see a river just standing still, what do you see? You see swamps. You see
Mm-hmm.
dead. You see it stinks because it's not moving. Now, if you see a river just flowing, you see
Mm-hmm.
fishes. You see life.
Exactly.
Money is the same way. So if your money is not flowing, if you're just keeping it, saving it, all you're gonna have is death.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna start stinking because you can never rise up before that. But when your money's flowing, you're investing, you gaining, you losing, you gaining. Your money's moving transactionally through entrepreneurship and through business. You flourish, you see life, and then your potential is limitless. You know. So part of it is just really changing our narrative or our relationship with money, and changing relationship with ourselves. I feel like money relationships come from ourselves, and changing the way what our parents have instilled in us
Mm-hmm.
about working hard to make money. The less I've worked in my whole life, the more money I've made. The less I'm extremely lazy. I don't like working. Like if I have to, I don't get me, I'm a hard worker. Don't get me wrong, but I
No,
don't work in that
I
way. That
understand.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I have made most of my money when I didn't do anything, and when I worked hard, like can't sleep. I
Mm-hmm.
like to sleep, but when I
Yep.
can't sleep and I wake up, I made okay money, but it was not worth the stress. So so hopefully that helps.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's like me and brother Reggie, we always say like we're not built for this. We're not meant for like the Western type of life. So when the way
Right,
we need to adapt. So if we adapt, we're the smartest people on the planet. So
right.
once we adapt, we'll be able to take the control and become an economic threat. Because once we become the economic threat, that's when people start getting a little, you know, they get a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit
I mean, to,
tense.
to be economic threat is not even. It's not hard. It's the
Mm-hmm.
most simplest thing in the planet. I feel like this. If and it, if you there's different perspective. If you wanna do it as an individual, as a collective, and black people, one thing about black people, if you want to get people along with you to support you and follow you, you got to be doing it already. You
Mm-hmm.
got to show them. Nobody cares about you being great. You could have in your mind like I'm a great person. You know that. Nobody else cares about that.
Mm-hmm.
You care about it. Your friend might care about that. Your mother might care about it, but the world doesn't care generally. You have to exert your will upon the world and show them you are great.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say you guys start your podcast, and I see your podcast is great, but generally the world doesn't really care.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have to be innovative and think and strategize and figure out a way to success to come onto you.
Mm-hmm.
Then people start saying, I know that guy. That's my friend. I want to connect with him. You get so people didn't really care. People only care what I need to say because what I've been doing,
Mm-hmm.
what I'm doing. So I just the way you have to look at it. Like always look at part of entrepreneurship, knowing that nobody owes you anything. And to be an economic threat as an individual is to take that understanding that, you know what, I'm gonna go and get this my way. And then when you start show your success, then people will follow naturally. No, so it's just that simple. I think that the biggest part also to be successful as a young man is to not do things with your more do things with your logic than with your heart. If you notice everything you've ever done with your heart, like business wise, usually doesn't go well. Even if you wake up, you're like, oh, I don't feel like waking up today. But your mind always tells you what you need to do. You need to wake up and go to the gym. You need to wake up and go do this, do that. But your body and your feelings is like, what? I gotta sleep. I gotta rest. I'm tired. I gotta do this. I gotta go play video games. I gotta do that. But your mind always tells you what you need to do, go to. So in life, your logic has to be your driver of life. Your heart has to be the passenger in any relationship. So and I think one of the biggest things we have to economics, and I'm just saying just generally, not just like in terms of money, but just in any relationship with women, with life, anything, we are trained or programmed to move in a very emotional way. Like I got to do things because it's right or it's good. Life is not about good or bad. It's not about right or wrong. It's about self-preservation.
Yes, sir.
So, and most of the times, self-preservation does not always come in a nice package. You know? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
And speaking of self-preservation, right? And economics, right? Like you said, money does not equate to power, but money is a, let's say for now in the economic state we're in right now, it's a bridge to power for say ownership. So right, the way I look at it, right, you have the United States and you have Israel, right? I'd say Israel is more powerful than the United States, even though they have a lesser GDP. The assets they own above the United States makes them more powerful. For say,
right,
they supply them with most of their military technology,
right,
and they supply them with most of their imports and exports connections. Same with
right,
China. So that I say, the more you have a chokehold over another nation, the more you have a chokehold over another people, that makes you more
right,
powerful, per se,
right,
rather than money. Money is just a bridge. Now, what made the Europeans more powerful during during the conquest of West Africa was the tools they had with weaponry. Even
right,
though, even though, right, even though we had some strong ass warriors, even though the Zulus was going off on them niggas, they still the weaponry was a much more bridge to the power they had over the people.
right.
Now, my plan, or not my plan, but my idea and concept of power, right? What do what are all these devices made out of? Or what are in all of these devices? Lithium, right? So in the Congo, they have over 250,000 children digging with their hands in these cobalt
The
mines,
cobalt mines. Yep.
right? So why hasn't, right? Not why, but let's think of the idea of what if we take power over these cobalt mines,
Right,
right? So, what do you think about that idea? Taking power over these cobalt mines and taking power over infrastructure, right? Because
right,
80% of the roads being built in Africa are by the
By
Chinese.
the Chinese.
right.
And I think it was 60% of the infrastructure, the buildings are being built by the Chinese as well. So my idea is, why let's take over these positions of power. Let's take over these mining positions, and let's take over these infrastructure positions and these agriculture positions, including with exports and imports, so we can build and sustain ourselves. So, what is your opinion on that idea, that concept moving forward?
Absolutely, I think that makes sense. I'm gonna get back to I want to go back to what you said earlier, so that we have vivid understanding of power and there's not just and wealth and money, so that we understand this, right? So the reason white people took over Africa wasn't mere weaponry, because Zulu itself conquered British several times. The several and they were not connected to anybody. Remember, Africa is very thousands of. Don't get me wrong, machine gun changed the game, right? When they brought the machine gun, but there were African cultures selectively, not even isolated, that conquered British rule and other things. European won primarily because of their whiteness to international diaspora. Remember, when Africa was separated, it wasn't separated by white people. It was separated by the collaboration of what pan whiteness. They created like we have Pan Africanism. They have pan whiteness. It
They
wasn't
do.
just United States. They have France. They had when they went to fight Europe, when they wanted to fight 80, or when they wanted to conquer 80, it wasn't just 80 didn't just fight United States. They fought Italy. They fought all. So Europeans conquered the world through their notion of Pan Africanism. That's why when they say colonizer. So that means like they could be anywhere in the world and colonize where they are by the individuals and their collectivism. They were their whiteness carries on with them. Asians took over the world not through, and that translates to economics and everything you're saying, right? Is the idea. If you see Asian people in America, they have their languages and their buses. They have the languages on their thing. They have that pan Asianism. Anywhere, anytime you see an Asian person anywhere in the world, you could go to the Caribbean. Asian person is always Asian person. They could speak patois with Jamaicans. You see them in Italy. They could speak Italian. You see Asian people speaking Italian. You see Asian people on Instagram speaking patois, right? But their loyalty is always to Asia, to China, whoever.
Yep.
That's what you have to understand. Every group conquers the world through the notion of Pan-Africanism. There's no group that isolates themselves. So when they went into Africa, France wasn't by themselves. They had Italy, they had United States, they have everybody divided in a pie. So that also translates into economics. Now think of it this way, because I always try to use a logic example because I would like people to see when you step outside your door. I want you to see this, right? You rarely see an Arab in a Chinese restaurant. That's economics, economical power. You never see a Chinese person in an halal food store. You never see Asians hiring Arabs. You never see Asians hiring white people. All those things packed into power. Now, money is the ability to buy things. Power is the ability to control things. Money builds school. Power determines curriculums. So anywhere you go in Africa, there is no African school anywhere. There is African built schools under white curriculums. So they have the money to build the infrastructure, whatever, but not the power to kind of create their own system. Money creates systems. I mean, power creates systems. Money just buys things. Like what's his name? LeBron James opened his own school.
Yep. But
It's a white school.
Yep.
It's a black face on a white school. So I'm gonna get to answer the question about taking over resources, and you have to understand that, like I was saying, I want to separate that, let you guys understand what power and money, the difference in those things, so I can lead on to my other point. So now, to take over resources, remember, power is basically access to things. Like example, you have a passport. American passport could fly to most countries. African passport is very limited, right? That is power. Power is access, and access can only happen through relations with other African people. So that's what makes my position so very unique, because my company is not just American company; it's also an African company. It's a Pan-African company. That is true power. So right now in America, you can see a lot of individual ballers everywhere. They're all balling, whatever, but they all in Africa and Caribbean, everybody got money, but they're not connecting the way the Asians connect, the way the whites connect, and that is what creates power. Because if you're connecting, anything's going on in the Caribbean, you have the power to gain their resources. Because a lot of beautiful resources in Haiti, in Trinidad, in Congo. Now, as a person just from America, you're limited. So that's why I said the first goal of a young man like yourself, one, make money, first stage. Two, network, right? Create powerful network. Don't network for feelings. Don't network because I like you. I always say some people, I say this and people are like, oh, that's not nice, but it's true. If don't network with somebody that's a bum, you're wasting your time. Don't network with somebody that you feel like is your friend or they make you happy. Happiness is for babies. Happiness is I've never created people I don't like or like people that I even consider enemies because you have to understand in warfare you have to know how to diligently maneuver through things invisible and be invisible and not be a threat. The most powerful enemy is the enemy that makes you think you already won already. Life is chess, right? Not checkers, right? I've worked around white people in many different venues, right? And they actually love me. They'll invite me over for dinner. For hey, let's go drink. Like, don't get me wrong. I create my boundaries. I'm not going to drinks and nothing like that. But I know how to be not a threat until I become a threat. If you're going to be a threat, be ready to take on that consequences of being a threat. If you're a threat in any kind of environment, know that you're more powerful, that you're going to win. Right? A warrior doesn't really go into war not sure of what's going to happen. Usually, most people that wars between nations are won before somebody picks up a gun. Guns, people shooting each other is just more for like show. They already know what's gonna happen because wars are won through economics, wars are won through trade, and wars are won through access. And none of that it can ever be possible without international relations, international access, international money. That's why I have this distributor program. A distributor program makes black people in America money, makes people in the Trinidadian money, makes people in Africa money. Now our money is moving together. So now, if you want to say you want to want to take over the resources in Congo, you cannot vividly. It's not possible without that Pan Africanism access to Congo's infrastructure, to Congo's because you have to make friends to Congo political, social, and economic system. So I think I think understanding that and personally, remember, wars is not when there's not one because somebody has a bigger gun. That's not how life is. Remember Vietnam? Who think won that war? Vietnamese people are short people that were living in the jungle. They didn't have no machine guns. They didn't have no, they won. United States had all the missiles, all the things. They couldn't defeat them. And there's countless wars like that. So wars is not always won by the guys with the bigger gun. Yes, people were showboats. They market themselves as the biggest. Every nation will market themselves as the biggest and the strongest. That's what it's supposed to do. They market themselves. They show you missiles that could blow up the world. They show you this and that. But wars are won through one, economics, two, social and political marketing. Right? When I say marketing, the media is a warfare. Is a form of warfare. TikTok is warfare. Instagram is warfare. All those things entertainment is warfare. All those things and those ones are more efficient than a nuclear bomb because you are creating people's opinions for them without them even realizing that you're the one forming their opinions. They've done it to us for many, many years. There was a point where people thought Africans lived on trees. It wasn't because they were dumb or because that was what information that was created to them, and that was where Africa was marketed. Marketing is the real power. Is way more powerful than nuclear weapons. So I mean, I'm saying that to say that getting resources, take over Africa's resources is the simple solution, of course. But there's a lot of underlying movements so that we have to really pay attention to, and we have to understand that everything is never a mistake, and every system works beneficially for that group, right? So I hope that kind of answer your questions. But like you said, like I think I do agree with you. It's important, but again, the path to getting resources is what we have to look at. right? So I always believe when you say something, you have to have a plan. You have to having a plan doesn't necessarily mean going to Congo ever. It could just mean you being rich right now, make your money, so that when you say something, when you speak, somebody sneezes in the Caribbean. When you say no, somebody feels it in Africa. That is power. Now I'm in America right now, but if I was to say I'm feeling sick tomorrow, people will suffer in the Caribbean because why? I control the money for a lot of people that work for me there, right? If tomorrow if I say something happened, I'm not in the mood, people are gonna suffer in Africa because why? There's money flow from here to there. That is power. So and to get our people to recognize that those people working in Congos, those children are getting paid pennies, but by who? By the white folks. Now to get people on your side, you need money. Nobody cares about opinions. I know people who like to preach about let us all be pro-black, and personally, I'm the type like I don't care who's pro-black, who's not pro-black. To be honest, I move in such a way where like whoever's to collectively connect with my like-minded people, but everybody else I feed. You control who you feed. When you feed people, if you say we're going this way, they might want to go the next way, but they will go wherever you want to go. That's how they control us in America or anywhere else in the world. Right now, if your boss said get to work at 8 o'clock, you be there at 8 o'clock. That's control. So if you was in Africa, you want people to be on your side. You have to have the ability to feed people. You have to have the ability to create jobs. You have to have the ability to change people's lives. Without that, you're wasting your time. So changing the world is not about feelings. It's not about preaching. It's not about, oh, listen to me. Let us do this. This is the right way. Nobody cares. Change the world. It's about having the ability to change people's lives through money, through job, through opportunities. If you cannot create opportunities for people, you cannot change the world. You cannot make things better for African people anywhere in the world, in America, anywhere. Even in your community right now. If you right now, if as a man, right now in your neighborhood, wherever you at, create a job place, hire 20 people in that community. You'll be the man. You walk down the street, you sneeze, somebody wants to give you an handkerchief. Right? So that is how things work. And you have networks of people like that. Now you have networks. Now, if a guy like you have 5 other guys like that. You have 6 other guys like that. And you guys are like Pan-Africans. You guys come together. Preaching doesn't do anything. Because if you preach to people, they might say, yeah, you're right. Next day, the boss says, we're doing this. They're doing that. Because you're not going to pay their bill. So I really hope that answered your question. So,
Yeah.
My goal on being on this podcast is really to shed light on reality.
Yeah.
And really how the world really works.
Yeah.
I personally don't care who's more powerful, Israel or America. That doesn't benefit my life or the life of African people in any form of conscious. I don't care who's more powerful than Russia or America or whoever. Personally, I just hope they kind of just finish each other however way. It's really my business. My business is how I'm going to make money. I'm going to get power, and I'm going to enrich the lives of my people. If anything does not coincide to that, I have no interest. Even I play basketball and I run track. So the guys, they add me on the group chat in the basketball. And then it was like, oh, I removed myself. And then one guy texted me like, why you remove yourself in the group chat? I'm like, okay, we're in the group chat. Are we going to make money? He said, no. I said, okay, don't add me in anything. If you want to play, I'll see you guys when I come play ball. And we play when I go home. But don't add me on no group chat. Don't have me on anything if it has nothing to do with money. If it has nothing to do with kind of like development, and it has nothing to do with anything that will enrich my life. So, and forgive me if I'm talking too much, but I think this is important.
No,
for
you
guys.
good, bro. You good.
Okay.
Cook, let him cook.
That's what we need. That's what we need.
And you have to be a psychopath to be wealthy. You can't be a regular person mentally. If you're a regular person, a well-balanced life, people gotta look at you like you're crazy. In a way. Let me explain. Right now, if you're selling pencils, I want to sell a pencil. You gotta be crazy about selling pencils. You gotta have a pencil bag, a pencil sneakers, a pencil like talk about pencils every day.
Mm-hmm.
There is no balance for a person trying to create wealth from nothing or from something regular. If you try to have a balanced life, it's not possible for you to make it. So you have to be way where you have to be more of a like you can't you have to be a little bit of insanity is necessary to do what regular people cannot do, haven't done. You understand? So you have to accumulate that. So when I say that, like everything you do has to add on to what you're doing. Now you guys are all friends, and I'm sure you guys have plans for your lives, whatever. I always have this philosophy. I call it the wolf pack. Friends gotta have the wolf pack. Entrepreneurs, meaning like if one is lacking, and when wolves are hunting, if one is lacking and slowing the team down, they cut him off. Like you fucking with the team.
Mm-hmm.
And that not to say you shouldn't have love for your friends, have love for people, but everybody gotta be contributing. What
Yep.
is are you what is your mission? Like are you in not to contributing in terms of giving anything, but in terms of like you have to have a plan, your friend has to have a plan, everybody has to have a plan, and everybody has to be doing things towards that plan.
Some
And
sort
not
of
to say you should
ambition.
go party and do it, but when one of your friends is doing too much of that, not being focused, you messing up the wolf pack.
Mm-hmm.
You mess up the pack. You slowing us down. And you are legible. Anybody can be caught off. Anybody. I will tell you something. I will tell my mother that my mother does not come before what I need to get done. I told her that. My mother knows that. And she gave birth to me. Nobody comes before my destiny. Nobody. Not my mother, not my father. Even if I was to have kids, none of my kids. You achieving those things is imperative because it changes the lives of not just everybody around you, but also your community, your family, your children. So you gotta have that a little bit of insanity and be like just deep into it. If you're dating a girl, she gotta like know she's dating an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Know that she doesn't come first, she comes second or third even to what you need to get done. Everybody has to come second or third to what you need to get done. So my thing is like that kind of feeling is where it's hard to compete with me. Like to me, because for me, it's like it's second nature. Right now, I'm in the vitamin industry. I started the company 3 years ago. I'm already in like almost 50 something countries, and I'm like not even breaking a sweat. I wake up 3 5 in the morning. Not to say I don't. I sleep. Don't get me wrong. I sleep early. I wake up. I have my routine. Like today, I'm going out. I'm having fun with friends.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going out with like on a date, 2 3 days maybe. I'm enjoying my life. But tomorrow, gym,
Mm-hmm.
structure, meetings, all those things. Yeah. So so not just say that, I don't believe in the sense of like not enjoying your life. Life is too short, enjoy your life. But just know that everything you do, make sure that it's business first.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I go to parties, if I see somebody that I feel like, oh, I could network with this person, work is always first. If I see a beautiful girl, I'm like, you know what, you look good for my skincare line. I think you fit it. Because I'm thinking about money.
Mm-hmm.
About am I gonna make money? Am I gonna create wealth? Because I feel like my success is not just my success. My success is also the success of my people. The more
Yes,
I
sir.
I go higher, more people are able to we make money from it. The more I go higher, more people are able to benefit from me. So you have to look for like the fulfillment, knowing that you're not living for yourself. Everything that you guys are doing right now, this podcast, is not just for yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
There's a higher calling to that. So that's what makes this so special. So you know, so I hope I did answer some of your questions, and I plant some seeds of knowledge with you guys.
Yes, sir. No, I completely agree, and it's like you're in New York right now, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm in New York. I live here, so when you go down to Chinatown, you don't see any other restaurants, you don't see any other stores, you see their people, and that money circulates in their community. So I completely agree with what you're saying, because that's what we need to do. We need to make sure that our dollar stays in our community. But a
right.
question, since you have, those connections on the continent, uh, how can we here, like I know you said, first build our wealth and build our money so that we're able to do those things. What's the next step after we build the wealth? how do we build those connections between the continent, the Caribbean, and African Americans here, like in the diaspora as a general, in general.
Because remember, what you're doing right now, you're already doing it.
Hmm.
You're starting. It's a journey. Building wealth is not something that just happens like, okay, now what? Let me just make wealth now. No, it's like as you're making wealth, you're also making those kind of connections. So I feel like this. Part of connection is also, um, you know, when you go into connecting, like, taking those trips, traveling, but not just that. There's a lot of social media, whatever. I'm not much of social media. I have a team for that, but sometimes I kind of check it out. A lot of like social media people you connect to, talk to them, invite them to your podcast. What you're doing right now with this podcast, you could do so much with that. You
Hmm.
can be flexible. You could talk to somebody from Africa and speak with them, and figure out what their perspective. Whether it's good or bad, you learn and allow yourself to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing about being an entrepreneur is being able to forgive yourself and know that you're gonna make mistakes. Know that you're gonna mess up. You're gonna fuck up. You're gonna, lose some opportunities. You're gonna make some. So there's never, there's no such thing as opportunity lost because opportunities are limitless.
Hmm.
So don't. So even if you was to let's say try have a relation with opportunity and something happened and say maybe you said something or the person gets mad, you're like, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Okay, the person left you. Okay, next time I'll learn that. Right, moving forward. Let's say you had opportunity to make money and you lost the opportunity. Just learn from it, and the next time I'll learn better.
Hmm.
That's it. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. There's nothing wrong with that. Just as long as you learn from that situation. So I know it might not really make full sense now, but it will in the future once
Hmm.
you start doing your thing. So attaining wealth is a never-ending journey. Meaning like it never stops. There's no such thing as arrived. Oh, now I make
Hmm.
money. Like when I made $1 million, I'm like, that was nothing. I would start looking like, nah, it's not enough. I got it.
Hmm.
So wealth is a journey, not a destination. Network is a journey, not a destination.
Hmm.
So as you're doing all those things, and you just know you've gone to a level now. Now I've gone to a level where I could do certain things about. I could do something about the cobalt mine in Congo. Now I could go over there or connect with somebody over there, but it will be a point in your journey where you realize that you will know that,
Hmm.
right? So trust your intuition. And my own thing is this, and also that's the most important thing too. Very spiritual person. You have to trust. I'm a very spiritual person,
Hmm.
and I trust my intuition. If I meet somebody, if I don't like you, I don't like you. I don't need any reason, or he didn't do nothing to you. I don't care.
Yeah.
And even if you're wrong, so what? Like, who cares? Your intuition, just trust it, and you have to be who you want to be now. You want to be a billionaire, you have to be the person that changed Africa, the one that changed the world for your people or for the world, whatever it is. You have to be that person right now. So if you're that person right now, all your friends will still be your friends.
Hmm.
If you're that person who you want to be, with the people you deal with the woman you date, with the kind of conversation you have, will you still be having those kind of conversations if that person were you are your future you right now? That's kind of thinking you have to be that person. You don't wait till you attain wealth to start moving as though you. When I was broke, I remember when I was broke when I was younger. We used to wait when clubs was like, okay, you get in before 12 p.m. for free. I used to be there like we used to be there like 12, 11:30
Hmm.
online waiting. I was young, so we used to have like I'm $20. I'm gonna buy one rum punch or something, and I'm gonna stay away from the bar because I don't if I meet a girl at the bar, she might want me to get her a drink. So I
Hmm.
don't got I don't got $20. So I understand. I've been there, but I would talk to a girl, and I'm like, "You're not on my level. Like, why
Uh-huh.
you? I mean, we're not." And I was broke, but because I knew who I was,
Yes,
I was a
sir.
king before. Yeah. So all those things don't make you a king, or
Hmm.
money does not make you whoever you want to be, or power does not make you that. You always have to. You already have to. You have to embody that already now when you have nothing. So when people look at me, they be like, "Oh, Olayinka this." I'm like, "Yo, I've been Olayinka since the beginning.
Hmm.
I always felt like I was the shit since the beginning. When I had like nothing, when I had negative account in my when I used to pay overdraft fees,
Hmm.
my account when I had negative. So you have to be that person now, and it does not something that would say, wait till I become rich. wait till I get this. Now you have to be a warrior in that sense right now. So I think with that kind of mentality, it kind of takes you to where you need to be. You know, yeah.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, Reg.
Sure.
Uh, nah, I'm hearing everything you're saying, and I agree with everything you said, you know, like I feel like when it comes to being that type of person that you telling us about, you have to like always like be like let's put it like this. Before you at that level, right? You always gotta make sure to like have your foundation ready, you know? Because without a foundation, without a base, everything that comes on top is gonna crumble again, you
Right.
know, come down. And
Right.
eventually you're gonna start exactly where you started.
Right.
You and I like I said, I do agree with pretty much listen, if you're African, I agree with everything you say.
Right.
100%. You feel me? You know, because at the end of the day, what I care about is making sure that we have, even though, you know, at this point in time we don't have it, we don't have everything we should have, you know, that's not something that's gonna slow us down to making sure that we're gonna get to that point, you know.
Right.
You know, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
I
can
got.
have more questions like alone, you know,
No. No. I
but
mean.
yeah.
I mean. Yo. Listen. That's why I'm here. I want you guys to feel free to ask me anything. And obviously, and I wish you guys much success and much wealth and much power in the
Yeah,
future.
much appreciated,
And
King.
So,
absolutely. And this is where it is. And life is not about. And I do appreciate you guys agreeing with me on 10 things, but it's not even about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll be honest with you, I don't really care who agrees, who doesn't agree. You know what I mean? And you have to have that mentality too.
Yep.
Who cares? You part of foundation my brother just talked about is your principles. You have to be unmovable. You have to be unwavering. Your principles has to be a root of a tree. It has to be rooted.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody agreeing with you or caring about or liking you or caring about what you have to say is a weakness on a man, because if you have to be around people that agree with you, you will never get to where you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to know where you want to be, and then everybody that agrees with me are just okay, cool. I appreciate that. That's it. So I'm saying that to tell you that anything you want to do right now, you want to do it, and you know where you want to go, and any knowledge you gain is to make those that better. And whoever's and I went when I turn around, wait, by the time you turn around, you see, wow, these people are with me. But you can't look at it like that, because the same people that clap, if you're standing on based on people clapping for you, the same people can also destroy you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that means your power cannot come from the ability of agree, no agree, whatever. Who cares? Fuck that.
Mm-hmm.
Your power has to come from your ability to create your own business, create wealth, help people. So my employees, like some of them probably don't agree with what I need to say. Some of my
Mm-hmm.
employees that work for me, they probably don't agree with me. Like, oh, you're doing too much. They probably feel like I'm doing too much, but I don't care. If I say come here at 9 o'clock, they'll be at 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And life is like that generally. And you have to move as a business people, as businessman, you have to move with such efficient, like in terms of this, right? Even move in such a way where your life cannot be based on being happy. Happiness is not the first priority of any man, and I've said this many times.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a man and you feel like I gotta make myself happy, you never get to your goal. The people that only should be happy all the time are babies and little kids.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say men shouldn't be happy. Responsibility comes before happiness. And many times responsibility does not feel good. You gotta wake up, go to the gym, go to work, make money. That's responsibility. You want to create a business, you gotta work, make money, invest. That's responsibility. And most of those things don't come with happiness. You have some little happiness when you
Mm-hmm.
go out for drinks, you have your girlfriend over, Maybe you have a little sense of happiness. But generally, your mission, I say 60 to 70 part aspect journey of it is really not a very pleasant, experience, you know. But you got to do what you got to do. So this mentality of saying, "Oh, I got to find my happiness," is for it's for weak people. It's for regular people, and we're not. We don't want to be regular. We do what we need to do. We do what is our responsibility as men. And and going back to what I said about self-preservation is the fact that you do whatever is necessary, not always what is right. No other race does what is right or what is wrong. Life is not about what is right or wrong. It's what is necessary for your self-preservation. Even God does not align with right or wrong or those kind of things. If you think about it, a lion tears apart a pregnant deer, even with the baby inside of it, and even eats the baby. That's God. That's the universe. If you look at bees, hands, you ever seen hands go to war? They tear each other apart. They kill babies. They eradicate everything. They preserve the black destroys the red. The red preserves the yellow. Is our nature where everything on this planet, including plants, work for their own self-preservation. Plants are not the same. Plants specifically want to see their own kind grow. Some plants will throw spurs so that their own kind will grow and thrive over other plants. Right? There is no being, there is nothing on this planet that you could point to that doesn't move in alignment with self-preservation. They program black people to move in alignment with morality, not self-preservation. That's why, if you notice, every other group moves in terms of what they need to do. They might hold hands with you, they might hug you. You will never see any group open a store with black people. Even though they call up things about multicultural or whatever. You can't point to any way. I don't know. I didn't say you live in New York, but any other place where anybody lives, you can't point to me and say Asian people just open a store with black people. White people open any group. Point. Let me see. Show me. You cannot. So they only open things with feelings. With feelings. That's why when things happen, what they do? They have signboards. They give you guys street names. They paint the street. They have dances. Non-sentimental things for people who are mentally incapacitated, can't even see what's in front of them. If somebody does something to you, they have to compensate you. Money or blood. That's it. If you do anything to white people, you do anything to them, they're coming for you and your family. They're coming for not just you, everybody. That's for any other group as well. So I mean, like that, our mentality of just being like emotionally attached to everything, like love, 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 love. Love is important. Don't get me wrong, love is important. But I feel like love should not any race that leads with love always enslaved. There is no race that leads their lives with love first that didn't become a slave to another. You have to live your life with what you need to do first. If I need to take care of that group and remove them, that's what you need to do. If I need to go back to economic, if I need to economically make sure the Asians does not thrive in the black community, that's what you need to do. Or that collaboration, or that group, it would never work because every group sentimentally moves for their own self preservation. Example, even here in America, Irish was it Irish and Italians? They were not even considered white at one point.
Italians and Irish,
Yeah,
both, I believe.
they used to live with black people like neighbors together. They used to marry each other, used to whatever, used to like, what happened? Once they got a little access, that was it.
Yeah, that was it.
That was it.
That was
So
it.
because everybody's moving in terms of love, love, love. Once you move in terms of love first, you die. You be the first one to die. You have to. Every group must move, and I understand as an entrepreneur too. Yes, you could like somebody. Not to say emotions should be, but your logic has to be number one. So even in ancient Africa with Mahat, practicing love, with unity, with any group, what happened to them? They're not doing my hat no more. The slaves, they're dead. Pretty much they're gone now. Any or India or any other group that practices yoga and love, what happened to them?
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't speak. If you see a barbarian at your door, you don't speak love to a barbarian. That's not the language the barbarian understand. If you see a animal at your door, a beast of a man at your door, you don't speak mahat to a beast. A beast only understand the language of the sword. That's the only thing barbarians understand. So everything has to be weaponized: economics, money, networking, access. Everything has to be weaponized for our benefit. So we live in a beastly world. The world is dirty. The world is
Mm-hmm.
evil, and we didn't make it that way. But
We
if
gotta
we're not,
adapt.
yeah, if we're not capable, exactly, to adapt. So anybody that's not capable of being getting dirty, understanding of knowing how to move around, navigate, knowing how to like be invisible, you know how to like be cunning, like a spy, moving
Mm-hmm.
or get information, get access. No one just move in the system cannot succeed. And that same goes for entrepreneurship, for anything. So I think it's not something that you just get right away. A lot of things I'm telling you guys will get it more better as you go along your journey, to be whoever you're gonna be in the future. Right. So I figure you guys kind of understand that more than I do. But
Mm-hmm.
don't waste your time in conversations that is not prevalent to your future or to what you need to do. Um, Figure out like anything you do or anything you want to partake in. Um, no, not to say you shouldn't do something for fun, whatever. I'm not saying
Mm-hmm.
that, but I mean just generally. Always ask yourself, does this help my development as an individual, as a collective? Right? Does right now, if people talking about banking system, who cares if the bank system becomes digital? Who cares about it? You have no,
Mm-hmm.
you can't, you're not going to change it. Who cares if the bank right now there was a world power unite everybody and they have the bank all go bankrupt and everybody go. You always have to know the job of entrepreneur is the best entrepreneurs are people who can see the future and adapt before everybody else. That's pretty much entrepreneurship is. That's what a businessman is. A businessman is somebody that could see farther than everybody else. So your job is not saying, oh, they're gonna change, the dollar's gonna crash, whatever. Because you preaching that is not gonna do anything.
Mm-hmm.
If it's gonna crash, it's gonna crash. You're wasting energy. You have to be very logical, you have to be very analytical. You
Mhm.
have to say, okay, where's my position in the world? I'm not gonna do shit about it. I have no power to do anything about it. So my job is to say in any kind of world they're gonna create, there's gonna be some hierarchy. There's always gonna be poor people, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
wherever they're gonna create a world, they're gonna create it, whether you are angry about it or not. It's just what it is. So your job is to give your people the best possible way to get liberated from it. Is to not be poor.
Mm-hmm.
You say, wherever world they create, how can I be part of the wealthy folks in this world? It's not about crying about global warming or
Mm-hmm.
unity, because everybody that's crying about it on social media and Instagram, they act like they're gonna do something. Who's gonna do anything? What organization is gonna do something? Logically, they act like today right now. Chase
Mm-hmm.
Bank was like, okay, we change the digital currency, no more dollars. What are you gonna do? You're gonna play digital currency because you got to pay bills and you got to eat. So, so I feel like as an African, as a businessman, as a woman entrepreneur, you have to look at things from that perspective. Now, people that look at it from a very feelings perspective start to say, no, no, World Bank and this. And not to say that, again, to take them down, you have to understand this. You have to really be logical in that sense, not like get caught up in the feelings. Yes, it's very painful. Yes, very hurtful. But you have to strategize and move in such a way where it benefits you and your people. And give, because when you're successful, you have the power to give your people a chance to come out of that condition.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I definitely hope that helps answer some of your questions.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I my fault, Sam. No,
Yeah.
no, this is very true because you know, especially when talking about the self-preservation, that's why we're like a solution-based organization. We don't
Right.
come on here and talk about the issues. Let's talk about ways we can get out of the system and ways we could push our people forward. And then with it's like you're saying we have to have the discipline to put the logic to put the responsibility first. When we do that and we stand on our own, like for example, I research history. If someone wants to debate or something, their information doesn't move me because I know what I do and the
Right.
information I have is correct. So
Right.
it's like that. It's standing on your own 10 toes and knowing that you doing what you do is the moves you should make.
Right. And just real quick, I said this. I made a post about this. Knowledge is irrelevant without power. Your organization is so important, and I want you guys to understand that. But your organization means nothing without money. Nothing moves without money. So figure out a way to make money, a lot of money. Then and I think I've said it earlier before in the podcast. Then it matters. What Black people need to change lives is opportunities.
Yep.
That's something that other groups have that we don't have. Unless you know, we're gonna make money and come together and buy a supermarket, or even if it's like a small
Store.
cubicle store, as a start, because now it is a mind shift. Now you have that. Then next you want to do something else. Then want to do something else. So organizations matter with money. Knowledge is nothing without power. I'm gonna give you an example. The reason why proper English is considered proper is because of power. If Black people were in power, Ebonics would matter. So if somebody can have all the knowledge in the world, but lack money, nobody cares. The truth is irrelevant without power. Nobody cares about the truth if you lack the ability to implement your vision. So somebody caring about the truth is because they're still moving from a place of morality. Like, this is the truth. You have to believe me. Like, because it's feelings. It's a feeling, it's a feeling. You know what I mean? We have to do this. So not to say the truth is not important, it's very important. I think it's important, but also while on the journey of exploring the truth and exposing it, it's important to know that everything doesn't mean anything if you're broke. Right? Broke being all powerless. But first it's just money. So just always keep that in mind. I feel like the mistake a lot of people, young guys, make is that they get caught up with this sense of like truthfulness, that they lose vision of the fact that it's more so for to make themselves feel good. And which isn't, don't get me wrong, I'm not negating the fact that truth is important. It's very important for us to kind of create knowledge and awareness because that kind of helps our mentality to even attaining wealth, right? But not to kind of like have it like that is all we need.
Yeah, making it all about that.
Yeah, you understand? No, that is not. We need money. We need to money and like money. Look at it, money as a sword. Me having $100,000, I become more powerful than McMills with millions. Because a person with millions, a Black person with like the knowledge of self for millions, is only gonna give money back to white people.
Yep.
They're not gonna really do anything. They become they're not a threat to the system. But a conscious person with just $100,000, with $30,000 even, or with $20,000 is more dangerous. That's why they keep people. That's why if you notice, they elevate people who are dumb or who do dumb things.
Yep.
Anybody that portrays intelligence, they kind of find a way to kind of keep them away from wealth.
Especially in our community.
Yeah, it goes back to slavery. During slave time, if any Black person shows any sign of intelligence, he gets lynched.
Yep.
Because we're a threat. And lynching really came after slavery, right? After they abolished slavery. And guess what they're lynching the most? 90% of people that they lynched were actually business owners.
Wow.
You ain't going after regular people,
Mm-hmm.
regular black people. It was people who were like opening businesses, making money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why now most people who are rich in the black community are entertainers, dancers, clowns,
Mm-hmm.
jokesters, influencers that will make themselves naked or whatever the case, just to whatever the case might be for they want those kind of people.
Mm-hmm.
So intelligence is a threat to the system. So what you have, having knowledge is a threat to the system. So what you have is important in terms of gaining knowledge and gaining more knowledge. Just don't let that be the
The
most
main
important
focus.
thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the main
Yeah,
thing.
money is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
Make money, get money, and utilize that, and then it becomes a sword, and then the knowledge becomes a sword. Then the
Mm-hmm.
knowledge becomes more effective, more meaningful, because now you have money to implement your knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Now you have money to implement what you're saying, and then people want to listen to you when you have money.
Mm-hmm.
People want people. That's just what it is. We have to be realistic. If you're not successful, no one want to hear what you gotta say. You know, if you have money, like I have 4 cars here in the States. And sometimes when I go out my Lamborghini, I stop in front of a lounge wherever I wanted to go. I come out, people will come, oh, what do you do? What do you say? How you
Mm-hmm.
doing? Hello, good morning, sir. You said the energy changed. People that want to do business with me. Oh, I have this idea that I think will work. I don't want to give me money. Nobody will ever give you 2 million if they don't think you have 20 million in your account.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody want to give you $100 if they don't think you have $10,000, right? Because they know that, oh, that's nothing, but I could probably make money with him.
Mm-hmm.
So exuding money is important. Don't be like those people running into the bushes eating fruits. You have to be where the problem is at. You have to know how to mingle with the world. You have to know how to like navigate with the world. Not to say you shouldn't do that as well, but you have to know how to. You have to, if you want to solve your people's problem, you have to be in the midst of it. You have to navigate. You have to buy
Yep.
condos. You have to travel the world. You have to go to Italy, Russia, Europe, not just Africa. Just not,
Mm-hmm.
know what the like. Learn from them. Don't just learn African history. Learn European history. Learn what they think. Learn history of Thailand, Asia. Be well versed so that you be more efficient warrior.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about Africa, black people. I think people get frustrated about that because it's been taken away from us it's been hidden from us for so long. I feel like we could learn a lot from white people
Mm-hmm.
and utilize that for ourselves. You can learn from if you can't learn from other people, from your enemies, you're moving with emotion.
Mm-hmm.
The most dangerous person is the person that could efficiently execute with logic because you can't move that kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody execute with emotion, you can still talk to them like you shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
That they still wavering. If somebody understands, okay, I need to. It's nothing. It's the most dangerous person is somebody tells you it's nothing personal
Uh-huh.
because when somebody tells you there's nothing personal, you can't move because that person's already convinced. It has nothing to do with like liking you or not liking you. It's just what it is. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So that person, though, once you get to a stage where you could look at somebody and be like, "It's nothing personal,
Mm-hmm.
but this is just what it is. I can't work with you. I have to fire you because I like or if somebody says I like you, but
Mm-hmm.
you gotta go. You know what I mean? That's the most dangerous kind of person because that person is not moved by saying, you know what, Josh is my friend,
Mm-hmm.
or I talk to Josh all the time. Yo, Josh, we talk all the time. We're cool, but yeah, it's not gonna work. You're gonna be fired.
Mm-hmm.
That person is scary. So that's the kind of person you gotta be. You know what I mean? So, um, it just again, everything I've said today is not something that somebody becomes overnight.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that where I would want you guys to have in the back of your head and just kind of as you go through your journey, accept it little by little. And there are different situations will happen in your life where it will come back to you
Mm-hmm.
and you'll be able to implement that.
Yeah, this
Right?
is definitely something I'm gonna go back and watch because it's a lot of information. You're putting us on to a lot of game.
Same, I know
It's good game,
what
yeah.
you just did.
Well, I'm happy. I mean, again,
Mm-hmm.
part of me being on this podcast, like I love your professionalism. I know that you guys are young man, really wanting to do right and really trying to build something.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys on a very. I wish I was ask somebody like myself to talk to me while I was,
Oh,
building
yeah.
Yeah.
myself. So, yeah. So this is something that you guys take with you, be with you, and hopefully maybe in the future we'll be able to sit on the same table,
Yes, sir.
and and,
We
and, and
definitely,
talk
no, no,
business
we
up,
definitely,
That's definitely
yeah.
gonna happen.
Oh,
definitely, yeah.
definitely. I'm looking forward to it. So I definitely I give you guys maybe like what for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk then. I want you to remind me that we had this podcast because this is
We're
because I
gonna bring it
forgot.
up.
Yeah, exactly. So, just again, it's not hard to get what you want.
Mm-hmm.
It's not hard to get what you want in life. It's the most easiest thing. You just have to have a plan. And I'm gonna tell you, when I was younger, when I was my broke stage, and when I finally got enough money to move out of my mom's house, my mom looked in my room and she was like, she thought I was crazy because I wrote on the wall all my plans. She thought it was a math equation
Mm-hmm.
because the whole wall was filled like, okay, because I was making plans like, if I fill this is gonna be plan B, whatever. And the other thing is this, last thing I'm gonna say, because I gotta go soon, guys. So
Okay.
last thing I'm gonna say, you cannot have plan B to your goal. There is no room for failure.
Mm-hmm.
There is no hope. Don't say I hope something happens. Hope is a negative word that you should not use as an entrepreneur. You have to be embodiment of a godly person, of a God. You never say God hopes, or
Mm-hmm.
even if whatever religion you use, say the spirit hopes. Or I'll get back to you, my son. I hope it works. Because hope is a language of a slave. If you want to be a millionaire, you have to know you are going to
Yep.
be one. You have to know. When you know, and it triggers something in your mind and your spirit, like, okay, it's going to happen. It's just a time thing.
Mm-hmm.
And everything you do has to work towards that. So anytime somebody's like, oh, good luck, I hope you get it. Nah, I'm like, no, it's already done.
Yeah.
It's already done.
It's
Even
already
if it
written.
doesn't, it's already done. Nah,
Mm-hmm.
not even written, it's done. Like, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have that kind of like mentality, like I know, no,
Mm-hmm.
no is a language of a God. It's a language of a creator.
Yep.
So you have to move in that spirit of knowing. Example, if you dream, right? Sometimes you dream. You walk in your dream, you're making decisions, you're making walking life, looking right. Most of the time, you don't you're not choosing those things. You're just following, you're just moving as your dream is moving.
Mhm.
That's your spiritual self.
Mm-hmm.
Your spiritual, that's why choices people assume choices is a free will is a sense of like special thing. Free will is actually a primitive state of being. If you know like knowing things, even though like in the spiritual realm, spirits don't like say, you know what, um something might happen. They know things might happen.
Mm-hmm.
So they move accordingly to the state of things to happen. When you have free will, it's just a state of saying that you don't know what's gonna happen. You're confused. Leads to confusion. Leads to a lot of other behaviors that if you know you're gonna die tomorrow, you're not gonna be on no podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You're not
It's
gonna,
true.
right?
It's true.
So basically, to connect more to your spiritual self is important, and to have that kind of a godly presence about you. And once you start moving and knowing, you start noticing that your environment, your energy start to shift. Things like that
Mm-hmm.
start to change. It also leads to wealth, money, success in a lot of other areas. And even women, once you develop yourself to a certain level, women can sense that from you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, it has a lot of benefits to that. So, but I do appreciate you guys inviting me to your podcast.
Of course.
I'm happy to have this conversation with you guys. I hope that, hopefully, I do feel like in a few years, 4 or 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
I do see you guys as getting to a level that we could all talk about going to Africa or doing business in Africa
Yes, sir.
or connecting with Olayinka companies.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
collaboration
Collaboration and
is
making some
is.
real money together,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, thank you so
It's a
much.
blessing. We
Always,
we
Yes,
brother.
anxious
sir.
right now. We anxious,
Most
bro.
definitely. Most definitely.
Most definitely.
Thank you, man.
Gratitude.
Yeah, it was a
Yes,
pleasure,
sir.
brother.
Thanks so much, guys.
Yes,
Have a
Always.
good
sir.
day, guys.
Have a good
You
one,
as
King.
well.
Brother, peace and
Peace.
love to you. That was